A 165-page report was released on Tuesday by the New York Attorney General. Is at once the fullest accounting of yet of Andrew Cuomo's executive misdeeds and meticulous rendering of how that conduct was permitted to fester in the first place. So yeah, when did you hear about this, bro? this was nuts.
From day one, right? Like Ron Kim was calling Cuomo out like right when it happened in real time. Like he, did a little bit of indie media, right? When the nursing home thing first came out, right? And then that kind of like I think got the ball rolling and made like the victims feel fine coming forward. And it seemed, how many was there? It was dozens of different women.
Yeah, it was at least 11 covered in this probe, right? So completely violated. Women described Cuomo's groping and intimidation. The new account of a state trooper bolsters a meticulous new report on Governor Andrew Cuomo's misdeeds and how his inner circle allowed such conduct to fester. So the governor placed his finger on the back of a trooper's neck, standing behind her in an elevator in Manhattan office, tracing the path of her spine with a two-word narration. Hey, you.
The fucking cop. A lady cop.
Sometimes he asks questions. Why didn't she wear that dress? Why pursue marriage when your sex drive goes down afterward? Could he kiss her? And sometimes he made statements. He remarked that his ideal girlfriend could handle pain.
Could handle pain? Dude, this is just to the random cop that's assigned to a security
So
detail.
He said that the trooper in her late 20s was too old for him. He directed her to say nothing of their conversation.
What?
The trooper was perhaps the most unsettled.
You're too old?
After an event on Long Island in 2019. As she held the door open for him, she felt the palm of his hand on her belly button, pressing towards her right rib where she kept her gun. I felt completely violated. She later told investigators, but I'm here to do a job.
We find that the governor on many occasions engaged in sex-based harassing conduct and conversations. The most serious was the governor's unwelcome physical contact with women, including touching intimate body parts. He engaged in this conduct with state employees, including those who didn't work in the executive chamber, as well as non-employees. One current employee, who we identify as Executive Assistant Number 1, endured repeated physical violations. On November 16, 2020, in the Executive Mansion, the governor hugged Executive Assistant Number 1 and reached under her blouse to grab her breast. This was the culmination of a pattern of inappropriate sexual conduct, including numerous close and intimate hugs, where the governor held her so closely that her breasts were pressed against his body, and he sometimes ran his hands up and down her back while he did so. There were also several occasions on which the governor grabbed her butt. Executive Assistant Number 1 had vowed that she was going to take these violations, as she put it, to the grave. She was terrified that if she spoke out, she would lose her job. But she broke down in front of colleagues when she heard the governor on March 3rd, 2021, in his press conference claim that he had never touched anyone inappropriately. She then confided in her coworkers who saw her break down as to what had happened, and they were the ones that reported the conduct to attorneys in the executive chamber. The governor also, several times, inappropriately touched a state trooper assigned to the unit to protect the governor. In an elevator, while standing behind the trooper, he ran his finger from her neck down her spine and said, "Hey, you." Another time, she was standing holding the door open for the governor. As he passed, he took his open hand and ran it across her stomach from her belly button to the hip where she keeps her gun. She told us that she felt completely violated to have the governor touch her, as she put it, between her chest and her privates. The governor also inappropriately touched women who were attending work-related events at which the governor made remarks. At one event in September 2019, while having his picture taken with an employee of a state entity, the governor grabbed this young woman's butt. At another event in May of 2017, the governor pressed and ran his fingers across the chest of a woman while reading the name of her company, whose logo was on her chest. The governor also engaged in a widespread pattern of subjecting women to unwanted hugs and kisses and touching them in ways that made them uncomfortable. Conduct that is not just old-fashioned, affectionate behavior, as he and some of his staff members would have it, but unlawful sex-based harassment. In addition to the physical conduct, our investigation found that the governor regularly made comments to staff members and state employees that were offensive and gender-based. For example, the governor crossed the line many times when speaking with Charlotte Bennett, a briefer and executive assistant, particularly in spring of 2020. When she confided in the governor that she had been sexually assaulted in college, he asked her for the details of her assault. When talking about potential girlfriends, he said he thought he could date women as young as 22, knowing that Miss Bennett was 25 at the time. He asked her whether she had ever been with older men. He told her that he was lonely and wanted to be touched. He asked her if she was monogamous and what she thought about monogamy. He speculated on how her history as a sexual assault survivor might affect her romantic life. He told her that she looked like Daisy Duke. He suggested that she get a tattoo she was contemplating on her butt and asked her if she had any piercings anywhere other than her ears. Miss Bennett texted to a friend on the day where many of these comments were made that she was upset and confused and that she was shaking. Another example is the governor's comments to the state trooper, the same trooper he touched on the stomach and back. After the governor had become single, he asked the trooper how old she was. When she responded that she was in her late 20s, he said, "That's too old for him." He then asked her how much of an age difference he thought he could have between him and a girlfriend and have the public still accept it. She suggested it might be a good idea to stick with women at least as old as your daughters. She then tried to deflect the conversation by asking the governor what he was looking for in a girlfriend. He responded that he was looking for somebody who could handle pain. Another time, when the governor found out that the trooper was engaged, he asked her why she'd want to get married because, among other things, your sex drive goes down. As detailed in the report, employees recounted a pattern of similarly offensive comments and conversations, such as the governor repeatedly asking Executive Assistant Number 1 whether she would cheat on her husband, saying to her, "If you were single, the things I would do to you," telling her that she looked great for her age, which was early 30s, and for a mother, calling her and coworker Alyssa McGrath mingle mamas, comparing Lindsay Boylan to a more attractive version of one of his ex-girlfriends and to actresses. Women also described to us having the governor seek them out, stare intently at them, look them up and down, or gaze at their chest or butt. In sum, the governor routinely interacted with women in ways that focused on their gender, sometimes in explicitly sexualized manner, in ways that women found deeply humiliating and offensive.
Let's see. In fact, the report says Mr. Cuomo sexually harassed women inside and outside his government. Greater pains were taken to protect him from himself. The executive chamber declined to report harassment allegations from an executive assistant, Charlotte Bennett, to the appropriate state agency and moved instead to establish a practice preventing certain female staff members from being left alone with the governor. The composition of his circle in the report telling was likewise intended to minimize exposure for Mr. Cuomo, accentuate a culture of fear around confronting him with access granted chiefly to those with a proven personal loyalty. With those with Cuomo's ear included state employees like Melissa DeRosa, his top aide, and outside advisors like his brother Chris Cuomo, the CNN anchor, with no formal obligation to the state. The result, investigators wrote, was that employees who are not part of this inner circle of loyalists would rightfully believe, and did believe, that any complaint or allegation about the governor will be handled by people whose overriding interest is in protecting the governor. So bleak were the options available to Mr. Cuomo's victims. Witness interviews showed that even unwelcome sexualized attention could be seen as a better alternative to the otherwise tense, stressful, and toxic experience in the executive chamber. Oh, god damn, man.
I'll bet you this is the status quo for, I'd say, I don't know, at least 40% of, like politicians of that scale. Like, I don't know, it's probably like if you're just like a regular, like, rep or state senator or, even like governor of a smaller state, you probably have a hard time getting away with that. Like, he's in, rarefied air, like his level of power, right? He's a powerful motherfucker. Like, just from being governor and having all of the state, like, levers of power at his hands, but then being, he can like call and like lean on anybody, like with offices in New York, basically, right? Like any TV station or like Wall Street law firm, shit like that. He had his lackeys. That's such a, like, it's a pretty smart idea,
Yeah.
right? If you get like all of your secretary, all the people who directly report to you, or like your near and dear, like inner circle of sickos, so they're not like, you know what I'm saying, like no problems will ever get through the gatekeeper.
So
What are you saying about
Cuomo,
Gucci?
after this dropped, immediately went on the offensive to try and defend himself, and show that he is a man of upstanding character. And he was, of course, released a very passionate video explaining what a good man he is, and it was very successfully received by everybody. No, I'm kidding. It was a complete fucking creep fest, of course. Here we go.
I do it with everyone.
Oh,
Black
do you?
and white,
Oh, do you?
young and old, straight
Yeah.
and LGBTQ, powerful people, friends, strangers, people who I meet on the street. I do it with everyone.
He thought that would help him.
That's not. If that was the case, it wouldn't have gotten this far, right? He wants everybody to think that that's what it is. It's just like, hey, I'm Italian and I like to touch your heroes.
Yeah,
Like,
it seems like he's playing. It's like
literally
he's using like an Italian stereotype to defend himself. I mean, was I wrong?
I agree, but like, no, I mean, I believe him that he's telling the truth. Like, that was compelling. I'm sure he does touch and feel a lot of people unwanted. But that's not really what the charges are, right? Like, yeah, that's included, but like the main charges are the way you did it in your professional capacity with this fucking lady cop and all these people who worked with you for state politics that you've like totally creeped on, like over and over again, asking them like weird creep bag questions, right? Like those regular, like, I mean, you're like, I guess if you're flirting with a girl at the bar or something,
I
right?
guess.
But like the kind of questions he was asking was just shit that he saw in like Penthouse Forum or something, like weirdo curve questions.
So Kyle tweeted out this meme here that was pretty. I thought it was pretty funny. Secular talk here. Sexual assault is wrong. I'm Italian. Yeah, I guess that was the defense here from Cuomo. But immediately, this looks like it's actually going to go someplace because the reaction from lawmakers, including Biden himself, was decidedly anti-Cuomo. There are no more Cuomo-sexuals out there in any powerful spaces, I have to say. So,
I'm sure there are.
well, I don't know about that, man. Like it seems like it's kind of done. But all right, let me go ahead and pull up where they asked.
To start with the news of the day, given back in March you said that if the investigation confirmed the allegations against Governor Cuomo, then he should resign. So will you now call on him to resign, given the investigators said the 11 women were credible?
I stand by that statement.
Are you now calling on him to resign?
Yes.
And if he doesn't resign, do you believe he should be impeached and removed from office?
Let's take one thing at a time here. I think he should resign.
Do you
I understand that the state legislature may decide to impeach. I don't know that for a fact.
So does
I've
not
read
want to
all
deal
that
with
data.
this.
And he's using a photo
Hell no.
of you embracing him in his self-defense to say that these are commonplace kind of embraces that he made and the allegations against him. Do you condone that?
Look, I'm not going to fly spec this. I'm sure there are some embraces that were totally innocent. But apparently the Attorney General decided there were things that weren't.
Oh yeah, good going, Biden, pointing that one out.
Totally sensible position for
Yeah.
Biden. It's just a shame that he's like probably was the exact same kind of guy when he was
Yeah.
senator.
Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi, likewise weighing in here.
I mean, we know he was, like
Yeah, it's pretty well documented.
like well accused. Yeah, like sex offender himself.
All right, so here we go. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi calls on New York Governor Andrew Cuomo to resign. Pelosi's statement says here, under Attorney General Letitia James, comprehensive an independent investigation into allegations against Governor Cuomo has been completed. As always, I commend the women who came forward to tell the truth. Recognizing his love of New York and respect for the office he holds, I call on the governor to resign his post. When Pelosi and Biden turn on you and you're dependent on shit libdom for your power, you're not in a good spot. You know, you're not looking good.
Whoa. Do you think he's gonna resign?
So, let me get to that. So here we go. Cuomo commenting here again. I do kiss people on the forehead. I kiss people on the cheek. I kiss people on the hand. I do embrace people. I do hug people, men and women. I understand that there are generational or cultural perspectives that, frankly, I had not appreciated. Oh, Andrew Cuomo.
That's not what it is.
I mean, you're of Italian American descent, Matt. Are you like, you know? Yeah,
I stole his car, bro. He no longer exists.
What is the Italian American take here, as you speak for your ethnicity here?
I mean, I think I don't know. I don't know if Italians really like him, because he's a liberal, right? Like a liberal, like they probably are like good. They probably want him to go down.
No, I mean, but and as far as the excuses he's making about being very hands-on, let's say.
Yeah, that's true. That's a thing, right? But like, again, like that's not what's documented in this study, and it's really just trying to gaslight people, into thinking that's what the allegations are. I mean, it's a pretty smart play, right? It's his only option. He's got to do that.
You think he got that advice from Chris Cuomo?
He can't admit to that creepball shit. Yeah, I think he did. Right? It sounds like he's his top advisor.
Yeah, I mean,
he's got that one lady that I've seen her name around before. She's his main squeeze. DeRosa, I think her name is.
I don't know how. Yeah, well, hold on. Let me go to Jim Perlman again. They have this tweet here. So, see, New York Attorney General James found that Governor Cuomo sexually harassed multiple current and former female employees. Thank you, Lindsey Bolin, for your courage despite all obstacles. All right, AOC also weighed in here after the success on the Capitol steps. They asked her.
Here, let's have all right, we'll do that when this is done. We're done talking about Cuomo. You want to come on? Here.
I spoke to this when the allegations first came out. I believe that these 6 corroborating accounts that originally rose at the beginning of this year, again, different accounts that were corroborating, along with journalistic corroboration of the facts of the account. I felt it was enough for him to resign then. Now with the Attorney General's report, not only affirming those 6 accounts, but adding even more, including the assault of a New York State trooper. I think that harassment of New York State trooper is absolutely thank you so much.
Yep. So yeah, AOC likewise joining Pelosi and President Biden in asking Cuomo for his resignation. Now the New York Assembly Democrats, who they met privately on a video conference call for nearly 3 hours and were largely in agreement to move forward with articles of impeachment against Andrew Cuomo if he does not resign.
I kind of want him to go to trial.
Oh man,
yeah,
I would like to see somebody impeached in my lifetime. That'd be interesting. I could say I was there. I saw it. It'd be good content for y'all. But I think he is gonna resign, though. I think so. I think he's gonna get some calls from probably Biden and somebody else. Maybe even Chris Cuomo's gonna tell him to go ahead. Yeah, you gotta do this, bro.
I think he's gonna take him to trial, man.
You think he's that big of a sicko?
I mean, I think he's going to try to stall and drag it out, right? He's up. His term is up
Yeah.
next year. I think he thinks he can like wait out the clock, and get them to. But I mean, maybe he can too, right? So it's might take him a while to like schedule that, and he could probably like if he's bringing witnesses, right? And if they're going to try to do this career-spanning arc of his sex crimes, it could take a while to get that trial together. Maybe not a year and a half, but like he can probably. I'm sure he's got a lot of leeway to drag it out a lot, right?
Yeah,
And,
I'm sure.
Like I think maybe he drags it out, and then when it finally when the shit's about to hit the fan, then he might resign. I think he might want to. I mean, I don't know. Probably 50-50. I think that's a pretty good option for him too, right? Try and stall it and otherwise limit. Oh, dude, so he's gonna run around the state getting his goons to go rough up witnesses and stuff.
Oh man!
You sure you're gonna testify,
Oh
sweetheart?
no!
Here's some tickets.